Hi, welcome to this review of Star Trek The Original Series 365 by Paula M. Block with Terry J. Erdmann. This is a lovely book if you're a fan of the original series. It's a bit weirdly shaped. It's quite wide and not very tall, so here's a pencil for scale. It weighs about 4 pounds and 4 ounces, so it's fairly hefty. It's a meaty book. And as promised, when you open it up, it's 365 pages of Star Trek. I suppose they picked that number because it's the number of days in a year, but I don't know that you're supposed to read it one day at a time or anything. It is interesting. It starts sort of from the genesis, before Star Trek was Star Trek, as it says, and it's got lots of these older pictures. Here we see Roddenberry in an early publicity photo. Spock's sort of smiling there. And it kind of goes through, in the beginning, the origins of the series. So there's some photos that you've seen before, but a lot that I haven't. So this is the metal spearhead that Pike kills the monster on Rigel 7 with. And that's the kind of stuff, and here we have some nice background photos of Vina. That really makes the book worthwhile, is these sort of rare behind-the-scenes photos. Pretty good quality pictures. I mean, you're dealing with, well, this is probably a blown-up film cell, so there is some grain, but still pretty good quality. And just goes through the series here with a lot of sort of interesting photos. The neater stuff to me is things like this, the prop photos that you don't necessarily see. In particular, when you see the actual props for the phaser, I am sort of stunned at how cheap it looks. These plastic toys we have now, you know, the Playmates or the Art Asylum toys that you can buy, actually look better than the real props. I mean, you can see here that it's sort of modeled, and it just doesn't look very nice, and it's probably painted wood. So our plastic toys now are nicer than the props that were used on the show, which is sort of stunning. But it's a lovely picture book. The information in it is not necessarily new information if you're a fan of the series, but the presentation is really what you're paying for here, and it's not badly priced. I think it's under $20. So if you're a fan of the original series, and in particular of how the original series was produced, this is a book you should definitely pick up. The only thing close to it that I can think of in terms of Star Trek is the old Making of Star Trek by Roddenberry and Justman. I think it was Bob Justman. If you liked those, this is sort of an updated, more graphical version of those. It goes through the end of the series and into the 70s, into the sort of afterlife. So there we have Turnabout Intruder, and Kirk playing a woman, and Kirk getting his shirt off, into things like merchandising. This is, just kind of a neat piece of graphical merchandise. There's some Mego guys. So this stuff is sort of interesting to me, just Star Trek the Phenomenon. And there's the book I was talking about, Making of Star Trek. Into the 70s, where we have some fan-run conventions, to the naming of the Space Shuttle Enterprise, to the decrepit condition of the original model, which is now restored inaccurately and in the Smithsonian gift shop, and then back to the beginning with some sort of publicity stuff. So it doesn't go into the movies, really, and it doesn't treat any of the other series at all. It's the original series, a visual celebration, as it says. Definitive guide is probably an overstatement, but it is very interesting if you're a fan of the original Star Trek. But for no other reason, it's just kind of nice to flip through every now and then. So I would highly recommend this if you're an original Trek fan. It's a good book. Thanks for looking.